And then, do you want to do your logs? Oh no, duh.
Okay, good afternoon everybody, and thank you very much for joining. So we're just going to get underway now. We're giving it a few minutes for everybody to attend. So thank you very much for joining this webinar presented by Grey Matter and in partnership with Here Maps. So we've been a software reseller for 34 years now, and here actually almost share that history themselves. We started off shipping software on floppy disks, but things have moved on from those days, and we've got rid of the small warehouse we needed to store them all. So much needed office space, and we're currently specializing in cloud services, developer tools, and indeed mapping platforms. So Here Maps are a key partner for Grey Matter. We've been working with Here now for around 5 years, and we've certainly been watching them with interest as they've moved away from Navtech and Nokia branding to establish Here as its own identity, and Here are now a major player in the geospatial world. So on today's webinar, we would like to introduce you to a new licensing model that Here are offering, the Mobility On Demand Toolkit. So I would just like to start things off just with a quick poll. So if you guys could answer. So have you developed or are you planning to develop a booking platform for the on-demand economy? Yes, no, or perhaps it's under consideration. We'll just wait for everybody to vote. Okay, most of you have voted now, just a couple of people to vote. Okay, I think that's everybody. So yes, 24% of you said yes. You're already considering. And 41% of you said no, but you weren't. So hopefully we'll change a few minds, or maybe you will in future. And finally, 35% of you are considering. So yeah, very good. So hopefully this will be very informative, and this can help the decision. Okay. So that's very good. So yeah, while we're talking, please leave your questions for us. You can either ask it as a question or just type it in the chat box. We're going to review those towards the end, and we will try and get all those answered. If we're not able to answer your questions during the webinar, we'll have your information, and we will be in touch afterwards and follow up with you personally. So very good. So what I would like to do now is hand you over to Jan Willem. He's our partner manager at Here, and he will walk you through the new toolkit.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, perfectly. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I also would like to welcome you to this webinar. Sean already introduced me. My name is Jan Willem Baalbergen. I'm a partner manager at Here in Europe, and I'm supporting Grey Matter with all Here related activities. And in today's presentation, I'll give you some background information about the Here organization, highlight some of our products, and introduce the Here Mobility On Demand Toolkit. Why the on-demand toolkit? Well, on-demand goods and services are significant and a very growing part of the global economy, and fueled by a variety of technological innovations and investments. And for many on-demand companies, there are basically two key components to a successful operation. First, the ability to effectively match supply with demand. And second, the ability to quickly and safely provide goods and services, whether it's by car, by truck, by bike, or a combination of those. And transportation is critical component of the on-demand economy across market segments such as the personal transportation, food delivery, freight movement, or home and business services. And all of these sectors rely on a fast and accurate mapping and location technology to connect users with service providers. Let's see if I have access. Yeah. And here is all about location. We have been active in digital mapping for over 30 years, as Sean also pointed out. At the moment, we're with more than 7,000 employees in over 56 countries, working on a daily basis to create and keep the digital map of the world up to date. And we use different sources throughout the world, almost 80,000 sources from municipalities to GIS communities, and we have our own fleet collecting data as we speak. Over 400 vehicles are driving around collecting data for our maps, and they are equipped with LiDAR, which is a radar type of technology with 360 degrees cameras, and they ingest an enormous amount of data. About 700,000 data points per second. And that means that our fleet collects over 28 terabytes of data each day. So we're not just a mapping company, we're a big data company, and we use that data to create a 3D model of the world. Making a map is one, keeping a map up to date is where the challenge is. Just to give you an example, we have about 2.7 million edits per day in our database. So you can imagine if you use a map from about 12 months ago, that the actual situation can be completely different from what's in your map. And therefore, keeping a map up to date is key for any enterprise solution. So where are our maps used? Throughout the world. We started in navigation, so at the moment there are over 100 million vehicles out there using the HERE map in their navigation solution. So that's about 4 out of every 5 cars driving around in Europe or North America with an in-car navigation system. So we are by far market leader when it comes to digital mapping. And it's not only in the automotive industry where we're active, we're also very active in enterprise and consumer. Think of transport, logistics, consumer applications, companies like Amazon, Facebook, they're all using our technology to create a better experience for their customers. Let's see if we can go to the next slides. Yes, sorry for this. So we are reinventing the concept of maps and location intelligence to change today's urban modern life and to inspire innovative business development. So we started with our first map in '85 in California, and we've been the first in many different areas. The first in-car navigation system in '94, where we started in Europe with the BMW 7 with a small map of southern Germany, ranging to the first map for a phone with Nokia, to now in 2011, the first pure location cloud offering from a mapping company. We used to be part of Nokia. In 2015, Nokia sold us to a consortium of 3 new investors, as you might know, Audi, BMW, and Daimler, and they've invested in us to be sure that the location information and location intelligence is available not only to a few companies, but for the entire world. So they are not, we are not part of Audi, BMW, or Daimler. They are investors, and together with other investors like Intel, Tencent from China, and Navinfo, and since yesterday a new investor, Pioneer from Japan, we're growing the location industry. So partners are very important for us. Without partners, we're not able to do what we want to do. And what we're doing, as said before, is creating a 3D representation of the world, what we call the HERE Reality Index. So we're working with partners to fill this enormous database of information and opening it up to companies, partners like you, to use in your application. And whether it's a navigation application or a business intelligence application or an on-demand application. So this is another overview of our partners. As said, partners are very important to us. Without partners, we cannot work. In these 30 years, we have become the mapping leader of the world. And that's not something we just think we are. It's also backed by independent industry analysis, and one of them is the strategy analytics, where they compare different mapping providers or mapping solutions, and here is coming out of these reports as the #1 mapping platform and the #1 mapping provider. Just an overview of a number of different customers in different areas. As said, we're active in automotive, we're active in IoT, we're active in transport and logistics. All these areas, where there's a need for location intelligence, they know how to find us and how to work together with us. And when we look at today's topic, mobility on demand, just a few of our e-hailing customers, companies like Grab, Volt, MyCab, TaxiBeat, are still already using our technologies for their on-demand solutions. So our mission is, we are making sense of the world through the lens of location. And it's not just location, it's more than the map itself. So before we go to the Mobility on Demand Toolkit, I would like to show you what products we're able to offer. What is our portfolio? And basically we have two products. We have a content product and we have web services. And let's start with content, because without content there are no services, so content is key. As said, we create our data using different sources, suppliers, local GIS expert teams, our own vehicles, sensor information from Audi, BMW, Daimler, where we create, for example, real-time traffic information. And ingesting all that information is done to create the most accurate, the most rich, and the freshest map available. And that map is then able to be used by different applications and different solutions. So what makes a map great? It's coverage. So we are able to offer global coverage, and our data set or our products are the same whether you use them in the UK or in New Zealand or in Argentina or in Brazil. The setup is the same. So it's very easy for you as a company to start your business in one area, copy paste it to another area, use the same mapping provider without any need to create a totally different application. So coverage is #1. Accuracy, of course. So a map needs to be accurate. And that's what we are working on a day-and-day basis. So a typical map for a container on sea has a certain accuracy needed. But if you're driving or building a map for a self-driving car, an autonomous car, you would need to have sub-centimeter accuracy. And that's what we're creating and supplying to our customers. Freshness. An old map isn't worth anything. If I take a map from 1980, put it in my navigation system in my car or in my BI application, it's pretty useless. So we need to be sure that our maps are up to date. At the moment, we have a weekly update scheme in our platform, and we'll be moving towards a daily update or to a real-time map, where every change in reality will be in real time ingested in our platform and be able to be for you to be used. And fourth, richness. So we're not just drawing the outside world. We're adding all the attributes available to, for example, a road segment. Just to give you an example, over 750 attributes per road segment are available in our product, ranging from the name of a road to the type of road, all kinds of restrictions, turn restriction, height restriction, truck restrictions, etc., 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 creating a database of over 750 attributes per road segment. And those four pillars of our map data basically create this real-world index. And that reality index is not just about roads. It's about everything that's out there. It's about the locationing of things, of point of interest, of places, of restaurants, of stadiums, of railway stations. It's about things in the air, drones, trucks, vehicles. It's about people. Where are they? Are they walking? Are they moving? Are they moving by train? Are they moving by car? Are they moving by bus? Everything that has a location can be part of the reality index if, of course, there's a business case or a use case backing it up. And not just the ground. We're going into 3D. Amazon is already piloting drone delivery. To be able to send a drone to a certain address, you need to have the location of the drone, that's one, but you also need to be able to create the route of the drone to get to the delivery address. So we're in the process of creating a spatial or aerial network for drones to be able to route themselves and navigate themselves. And all this comes together as the reality index. And the reality index is basically a huge database of information, static information, dynamic information, and that's what we use in our platform. Our Here Location platform, or Here Location services, is a set of APIs, SDKs, and extensions to create functionality for our developer community. Of course, mapping APIs or mapping functionality to create a map or display a map of a certain area, a road map or a satellite imagery or a transit map or a map showing the real-time traffic information, etc., etc. So mapping is number one. Of course, you need to have geocoding. Without geocoding, your map is, well, not useless, but it doesn't have the use it should be. So our geocoder and geocoding API is capable of doing all kinds of geocoding. Straightforward geocoding, which means translating an address to a coordinate. So where is street A located? Single geocoding, batch geocoding, multi-geocoding, but also cross-road geocoding. So what's the location of the crossing of High Street and West Street? Or landmark geocoding. So what's the location of the Eiffel Tower? And reversed, of course. So I have this coordinate coming from my GPS information or my GPS device. Where am I located? What is the name of this street? Or what's the crossing of this street? Next to geocoding, directions. So be able to route from A to B, straightforward routing API, to very complex matrix routing routing functionality. So what's the time and distance between these 50 locations, and how can I use that to optimize my routing or my fleet? Isoline routing, how far can I drive in 10 minutes? Very interesting if you're looking at an electric vehicle. So my battery can take me another 50 kilometers. What range do I have? Taking into account the slope of roads, the curvature, etc., etc. Of course, our traffic API, everything that has to do with traffic, both real-time, predictive, and historical traffic for analysis. The transit API, public transit, public transport, etc., etc. And all these APIs are working together or standalone and can be used by developers to create a solution or application. On top of these APIs, we've developed a number of extensions or modules. So we try to make it easier for our developers to use certain location intelligence. We're not developing end-user applications. The Mobility on Demand Toolkit is not an end-user application, for example, but it's using components from our platform. For example, if we look at the custom location extension, it's a module that allows you to upload your own data into our cloud and can be used in all these APIs that I just mentioned. For example, our routing API. Show me all the McDonald's restaurants along this route. That's something you can develop yourself, of course, if you have a separate database with all the McDonald's restaurants. But if you upload it in our cloud, you can use specific APIs we created with the custom location extension. The platform data extension, which is an extension to enable cloud access to, well, maybe not all the 750 attributes, but a lot of attributes we have in our database. Speed limit information, ETAs information like curvature and enhanced slope information, signs, but also postal code information, admin boundaries, etc. So you can use an API to fetch data from our reality index and use that in your own application without the need of storing a local database on premise. Another extension, also interested for the on-demand toolkit, the route match extension. It's an extension or functionality that allows you to snap your trip to the road. So as you know, a GPS might have an outlier of 20, maybe 50 meters. In urban environments can be even more. But you want to reconstruct how your driver has been driving or where he has been driving. So you need an algorithm to snap it to the proper road. And so there are many more extensions. I won't go into detail of all of them. The only one I would like to highlight is the waypoint sequence extension, which is a functionality to do the optimization of the number of stops for a delivery, which is also used in the on-demand toolkit, of course. So the on-demand toolkit from here. The HERE Mobility on-Demand Toolkit supports end-to-end development and includes HERE, geocoder, the ISO line routing, matrix routing, and of course our mobile SDK. I haven't mentioned the mobile SDK yet. So next to our web APIs and extensions, we are offering a mobile SDK for you to develop a native mobile application. So developers may choose to build their own custom navigation using HERE software, or they can use our WeGo app. Let me go to the next slide. So the toolkit is a set of different APIs and services packaged as one product with one licensing model available for developers to use. And it consists of all the tools you need to create an on-demand solution. So it's both back office and mobile app. And most on-demand solution would require a consumer app, a driver app or delivery app, a website, a back office dispatching system, etc., etc. And the on-demand toolkit offers all this functionality in one toolkit for you to use. So what kind of companies do we serve? When we think of on-demand, it's about e-hailing and carpooling, food delivery or medicine delivery, home services like pet services or car sharing and bike sharing. And there are different needs, but at the end they're all looking for the same or trying to solve the same issue, and that's getting supply and demand together. Let's go to the next slides. So what business are we, or what problems are we trying to solve? as you see on the screen, on-demand companies are facing increasing complexity. As said, it's about creating or getting business or demand and supply together. And our toolkit offers access to all our here services and to enable these companies to offer the best service to their customers. And we do that by offering our perfectly state-of-the-art geocoder for precise locationing of passengers or customers, our routing APIs for optimal dispatching of drivers and passengers, ETA calculation, etc., etc. So the toolkit is supported by the Here Location platform, and it makes it easily to scale, and it guarantees a world-class quality of services, and enables the planning and management of a variety of implementations, as said, e-hailing, carpooling, etc. And all this combined with the most compelling location functionalities available today. So let's look at a typical mobility on-demand use case. The first step in any on-demand transaction is accurately locating the customer. The customer may be at a fixed location with a known address, or he may be mobile with no known point of reference. In either situation, getting their exact location is key to getting them the service or goods that they require. If the customer is able to provide a known address, forward geocoding is necessary to translate this address to an accurate location on the map. And even when an address is entered only in part or is misspelled, the use of the autocomplete API functionality can ensure that the system geocodes the correct physical address. So auto-completion within the web or within the mobile app may speed up the address input and makes it easier for the consumer or the customer to get access to the service and assist customers when they're unsure or of the spelling or of details of their current address. So it's not about just an address. As said, in many cities, it's common to use cross streets when describing an address, or the consumer or the customer can use a GPS device, and then we'll use reverse geocoding to get a physical address out of the GPS location. So instead of providing physical addresses or coordinate pairs to a map, a consumer or customer may also prefer to input the name of a store or the location he is in. Can be a restaurant or anything. So in that case, the app will need to be able to geocode using location names instead of addresses. And the Here geocoder supports all of these use cases. So once the customer has been successfully located, the next step is to match their demand, for example, a requested trip or service or good, with the available supply. So forward geocoding can identify the position of these fixed addresses, whether it's a store or a restaurant, while the reverse geocoding pinpoints the location of the delivery vehicles and the trucks that are in operation, as you can see on the screen. In the case of e-hailing, a taxi for example, it's necessary to calculate the ETA of all available drivers working in the customer's vicinity. So we use reverse isoline routing functionality that calculates a drive time area based on real-time traffic information and traffic conditions for each qualifying vehicle to the fare's location. So handling the logistics of an on-demand delivery scenario is very complex. It can be even more complex than what I'm showing on screen now. The system not only needs to locate the closest available store or restaurant to a consumer or to a customer, but it also accounts for the location of all available delivery vehicles. If a fleet is largely in transit, it's necessary to calculate the ETA of all available drivers to the pickup location, using these reversed isoline routing, and then select the best match. So once the system has identified the best match for a customer's on-demand request, it's time to fulfill their request as quickly and efficiently as possible. So many drivers working for on-demand services choose to rely on their own local knowledge of an area rather than using a navigation application or guidance from their dispatch center. However, studies have shown that following route guidance can be up to more than 20% efficient than relying on the driver's intuition alone, saving a significant amount of time, reducing fuel and emission, and increase asset utilization. So route guidance has an even greater impact when a vehicle is scheduled for multiple pickups and deliveries over the course of a trip. So the waypoint sequence extension or waypoint sequence algorithms can take that into account, including real-time and historical traffic information, and as well as pickup and delivery windows for each waypoint, reducing the total driving time significantly, while still enabling drivers to meet their delivery windows. And of course, it's all about exceeding customer expectation these days. The bar is set high for today's customers. Not only have they come to expect goods and services on demand, they also want to be able to track their order while it's in transit and to know exactly when it will arrive. The ability to provide accurate ETAs is a critical aspect of meeting these expectations. Being able to track the status of an order creates transparency and gives customers peace of mind. Providing access to information about the driver's location is pretty straightforward, whether it's through a tracking device or a fixed tracking device in the car or a mobile tracking device carried by the driver. And these devices provide location coordinates, which need to be translated to a point on the map, of course, using the reverse geocoding services again, and then published on the web or in the mobile app for the customer to view. They not only want to see where their driver or their pizza is, they also want to know when they can expect their delivery to arrive, especially when it contains time-sensitive goods like a pizza or other types of food or medical supplies. However, knowing just the location is not enough. So we need accurate arrival time estimates, ETAs. Using current traffic conditions in our real-time in our real-time traffic API, we can estimate the best ETA available. And of course, we want to keep exceeding the customer's expectation. And for that, we need to analyze what we've been doing in the past. So once the journey is complete, post-trip analysis can improve the operations. This process provides a picture of the driver behavior and his routes and compares it against traffic regulations as well as other drivers. So reports can be generated for each driver to see their progress in time. And in order to perform an accurate analysis of driver performance, driver behavior must be compared against the actual route they drove. That's again where the route match extension comes in. So as said, telematic solutions using GPS are typically only accurate within a few meters, and in dense urban areas there might be no accuracy at all. And these inaccuracies could lead, for example, to comparing the posted speed limit of the wrong road to the driver's observed speed limit, yielding in a false positive. So these route matching algorithms allow for a greater accuracy in post-trip analysis, as they can bulk process all captured GPS trails from a vehicle over a selected period of time. And the algorithm can then use factors such as speed, heading, and smoothing to snap to the raw GPS coordinates, or to snap the raw GPS coordinates to their most likely traversed road segment, while filtering out single outliers and start and end point clouds. And once the actual road has been calculated, comparative analysis of the driver behavior can be performed against the parameters such as traffic regulations, company policies, and the behavior of other drivers. And in addition to sensor-based behaviors such as hard braking, aggressive acceleration, and unsafe cornering speeds, additional map features and attributes may be used to enable a more complete and robust analysis of the driver behavior. Thinking of slope, curvature, etc., etc. So taking all this into account, we came up with the HERE Mobility on-demand toolkit. So what are we offering on-demand companies today? The HERE Mobility on-demand toolkit takes advantage of the power of the HERE platform. So it's all the APIs, the REST APIs, the platform extensions, the mobile SDKs, and also the Here We Go consumer navigation app, which is available in the app stores today. Any on-demand application can easily deep link to the Here We Go app for navigation, or can be integrated with a Here mobile SDK to access navigation capabilities directly into your own native app. So we supply code examples, tutorials, and other development resources to get you well started on building an on-demand solution that you can take to the market quickly and easily. So the Here We Go app. Just to give you a background, it's our consumer application, which can be downloaded free from the iOS and Android marketplace. We have over 100 million users every day, and it's using the HERE data for mapping, routing, and navigation. Normally, you're not allowed as a company to use the WeGo app, as it's a personal application and not an enterprise application. So the license restricts non-personal use or commercial use. But with the on-demand toolkit, we have integrated the use of the Here We Go app in the license. So why would you use the Here We Go app instead of developing your own navigation experience? It's very easy. So it's a matter of deep linking from your app to the Here We Go app. So by sending over the destination or waypoints, the Here We Go app will start automatically and start calculating the routes and start navigating to these waypoints and destinations. And when your trip has been completed, the driver can simply switch back to his own driver app and do his additional work. So why would we want to do something like this with deep linking? Well, it keeps your own application or your own mobile app light. You don't need to develop all this navigation functionality yourself. So you can go to market quickly, and you have the benefits of using all the functionality already available in the Here We Go app at the moment. So it will reduce your development time and effort. Of course, there are situations where you would say, no, I don't want to use the Here We Go app. I want to create my own navigation experience. I want to keep everything in my own application. And also that's possible by using our mobile SDK for both iOS and for Android. And that gives you access to the platform, the Here Location platform, of course, offline rendering of maps. So you can download maps and use the app completely offline, and include online real-time traffic information, of course, and create your own navigation, turn-by-turn voice navigation experience inside your own on-demand application. And it's up to you, up to the developer, to choose the SDK or the final WeGo app. So the value proposition. What we offer is all capabilities for an on-demand solution in one toolkit, with a flexible pricing model and seamless switching to a navigation app, whether it's inside your own application or with the WeGo app, and with a set of guidelines and documentation and resources to help you create your on-demand solution. So the on-demand solution is not just a application, mobile application. It's a set of applications creating this total solution. And it offers all the custom features that you will need. It offers you the precise locationing, it offers you the accurate ETAs, and of course the dispatching of the most likely driver to pick up a passenger, or the most likely pizza courier to deliver a pizza. So we support basically all use cases when it comes to on-demand, whether it's ride-hailing, vehicle sharing, business services, food and good delivery, long and long-haul freight movement. And if we look at those markets, the need is similar. So they are always looking for a dispatch application, a backend dispatch application. They're looking for a back office app for analysis and storage, for example. They have people out there with an application, so a field app. They have consumers who want to be informed with a customer app or a consumer app. And all these marketplaces are using these different components in their solution. And for all these solutions, components, we have a solution. I won't go into much detail on this one, but as you see, for example, the consumer app, we offer the ability of tracking, of navigation, can be pedestrian navigation. So I want to be picked up by a taxi, I'm in a mall, so I want to know how do I get from where I'm now at Market Spencer, and I need to go outside onto the corner of Street A and Street B. How do I get there? I can use pedestrian guidance of the WeGo app to walk from A to B and be there when the taxi picks me up. I want to see when the taxi will be arriving, so notified of the ETA, etc., etc. When we look at the field app, can be a taxi app. He wants to know where he needs to pick up his passenger, how to get there, and be able to bill him, of course, which is the point of sales app. Of course, we have a backend dispatcher where there's a dispatching system, dispatching the drivers and the couriers to the proper consumer, etc., etc. And all this comes together in our mobility on-demand business model. As said, we offer all these different APIs, REST services, extensions, SDKs in one business model. So you'll be able to create a on-demand solution with one license. And we're not licensing it per transaction or per asset. We basically started a new license model where we price, or our pricing is based on the number of orders generated by the consumer. So it's a kind of a shared revenue model which we are able to offer for this on-demand model. So far, mobility on demand, and here, Sean, back to you. Any questions? Sean, can you hear me? Hello, Sean. I'm not sure, you're muted.
Hi, Jan-Willem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. It's been very interesting, and yeah, there's a lot there. So if anybody has any questions for Jan-Willem and myself, please write them in the chat. And perhaps you've looked at this and you're thinking maybe there's a new solution that you're going to develop, so we'd be really interested to hear from you. Or perhaps you've listened to the presentation, you've seen some aspect of Here Maps, and you're thinking that maybe that you can now implement that into your application. Please, we'd be very interested to hear from you and to have a fuller discussion. Obviously, we've just gone through the technical aspects today. The next thing to do would be to have a licensing discussion, so that's something that Greymaster can help you with. So for a full discussion, please reach out to us. We have a direct number for our mapping team, 01364 655 133 there, or indeed you can email us at mapping@greymatter.com, or if you just want to leave your contact details in the chat window, as I say, myself and the team will look into getting back to you, and then we'll have a full discussion about what your requirements are and what you're doing. So yeah, we'd love to hear what you're building out there, what your challenges with your existing provider perhaps, and how you think that you can probably make use of some of his services. So we'll have a quick check of the chat window just in case there's anything at the moment. Nope, so we are good. So yeah, please reach out if there's anything you need from us. And yeah, thanks again, Jan, for your time. This has been Sean at Greymass, a very interesting presentation. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining, and we hope to hear from you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.